Tonight we take a look back at the Space Shuttle Endeavour's epic 12-mile journey through the streets of Englewood and Los Angeles. All of this and more coming up tonight on Newswire L.A. right after this. The space shuttle known as Endeavour had traveled across country perched on the back of a 747. It landed at Los Angeles International Airport on September 21st, 2012. The shuttle's journey was far from over, as 12 miles separated her from the California Science Center, which would be her final resting place. Over the course of her career, Endeavour would travel a whopping 123 million miles, but it would be this last set of 12 which would prove to be the most difficult. Therefore, the shuttle would spend several weeks in a hangar at LAX while two separate cities, Englewood and Los Angeles, handled a logistical nightmare of getting the 85-ton beast from the proverbial point A to point B. This reporter's notebook is something you're going to experience in sight and sound. Let's start with a map showing the shuttle at LAX. From here, she moves east to the 405 and into the city of Englewood. After a day of consistent movement, the shuttle came to a stop at the 405 when she had to star in a commercial produced by Toyota Motor Company. At 11:25 p.m. on October 12th, the shuttle continued her eastbound journey down Manchester Avenue at a top speed of 2 miles per hour. Meanwhile, we'll have you join us at Newswire L.A.'s first camera location. That camera location is at the intersection of Manchester and La Brea Avenue in downtown Englewood. You can definitely see it with a good long lens.
Mine's not that long.
Yeah, that's right there. I can see it.
Can you see it too?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Holy mackerel.
Wow, I can see it with a long lens.
I am so loving this. I'm telling you, this is the best decision I made to come out tonight. From the center of the intersection, we can look west and see Endeavour sitting in the distance. I can live with missing a little sleep.
Yeah. I can miss not doing that homework.
Amen to that. This is where we found contractors hired by the city working to clear as much of the path in front of Endeavour as possible. That meant, among other things, repositioning or removing street lights and traffic signals, which is what you see taking place here. Let's watch and wonder as this crew repositions this street light and traffic signal standard. What makes this so great is that the crew will reposition this pole without ever cutting the light or the signal. Again, let's just watch. This is all part of the whole deal. And there you have it. A pole that once pointed north now points east. Endeavour, with her 75-foot wingspan, will have a much easier time clearing this intersection as she makes her way through downtown Englewood. It really wasn't long before I and photographer Kim Martin realized that Endeavour was at a stop about 1.5 miles west of our current location. So we did the most logical thing and decided that if Endeavour wasn't coming to us, we'd go to her. What's remarkable is that at nearly 1 a.m. you have a high number of people who are basically camped out waiting for the orbiter to pass by. You have a noticeable police presence in place to make sure this festive atmosphere doesn't take any wrong turns. As you'll see over the next few hours, no significant incidents were reported and there were no arrests made during this entire period in Englewood or L.A. We kept moving west, and at every stop we took time to get some footage or shots of Endeavour as she got closer and closer. Our walking path wasn't a straight one due to the police barricades, but we managed to cover ground by walking 1 block south of Manchester on Kelso Street. Kelso Street actually parallels Manchester, which is the main boulevard where Endeavour is currently sitting. And here we are, just 1 solid city block away from the Space Shuttle. Even from this angle, you can see a lot of detail with your bare eyes. Here we are now about 50 feet away from Endeavour. Look at the crowds who have gathered here outside of the Best Western Airport Park Hotel at nearly 3 in the morning. That's 3 a.m. Both sides of Manchester Avenue are packed with people, many with children, looking to capture this once-in-a-lifetime event on their cameras, cell phones, and any other recording device. What's brought the shuttle to a standstill, by the way, are low-hanging power lines that Southern California Edison must raise before the shuttle can pass. While stopped, the crews assigned to escort the shuttle are taking advantage of the lull. They're taking a look at the equipment that's being used to tow Endeavour along this stretch of boulevard, along with the steel plates covering the roadway underneath the orbiter as well. A closer look at the skin of the shuttle shows all of the heat-resistant tiles which were designed to protect it upon re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. People have asked why Endeavour could not be disassembled and shipped to the California Science Center in pieces. Well, it's these tiles that are exactly the reason why. Removing and even touching these tiles could permanently damage them, and there are no replacements available. Hence, she had to travel in one piece from start to finish. Let's go back to our map. At about 3 a.m., the shuttle got back underway and continued its easterly trip through Englewood, with its next stop being the fabulous Forum. The next set of images you will see are photographs, shot by Newswire L.A.'s Louis Zimmerman. These images will take us from the Forum to the point where Endeavour arrives in the Crenshaw district. The fabulous Forum, which was once home to the Los Angeles Lakers and Kings, would serve as a public staging area for the shuttle. The shuttle would be staged here in Lot C until approximately 10 a.m. Saturday morning, when it would be towed back onto Manchester Boulevard at Kareem Court. The shuttle would continue its journey eastbound, where it would eventually meet up with Crenshaw Boulevard. If you look closely, you can see that many trees that once lined the center median of Manchester Boulevard have been removed, along with many street lights as well. A controversy that clouded this event surrounded the nearly 400-plus trees that had to be removed along streets in Englewood and Los Angeles. Many residents were not at all happy that trees, some nearly 75 years old, had been cut down to clear a path for Endeavour. Promises to replace every tree cut ×3 met with much skepticism, especially by many of the mostly minority communities through which the orbiter would pass. We'll show you more of the tree cutting that took place shortly. In the meantime, the shuttle would leave Manchester and head onto Crenshaw Boulevard, ultimately leading into the Los Angeles city limits. However, staying in Englewood for a moment longer, you could see some more of the preparations being made for Endeavour's arrival. There were still signs to be removed and trees to be trimmed. Road signs were also put in place to warn LA's weary drivers that 12 miles of LA's major thoroughfares would not be available between Friday and Sunday. Here are some of those tree stumps we talked about a little while ago. Many of the trees removed were large pines. The city of Englewood, however, stated that removal of the trees actually allowed them to make sorely needed repairs to the sidewalks and medians that had been damaged by uncontrolled growth over the years and decades. Additionally, you can see that many streetlights here in Englewood have been prepped for removal, if, in all honesty, they hadn't already been removed. Each pole would be removed and stored. Once done, the pole would be replaced in the exact spot from where it came. When the shuttle entered the city of Los Angeles, it would pass through the community known as Hyde Park by heading northbound on Crenshaw Boulevard. Like Englewood, the city of Los Angeles had removed trees, streetlights, signs, and other obstacles to allow Endeavour to pass. Here's an image of a railroad crossing at Crenshaw near Hyde Park Boulevard. The city had removed the railroad crossing gates that once stood in the center median of this street. Also note in these two photos that the steel plates have been laid at several intersections throughout Endeavour's route through the city of Los Angeles. The city wanted to ensure that the 85 tons of orbiter would not collapse the street. Intersections sometimes come with a convergence of sewer lines and electrical vaults which create hollow points below the street's surface. And those hollow points with the extra weight of the orbiter could collapse. We're now heading north on Crenshaw Boulevard approaching Slauson Avenue. This area would prove key in Endeavour's movement later on that Saturday afternoon. The ride through Leimert Park would be the most complicated of the entire journey. When the shuttle made it to the intersection of Vernon and Crenshaw, several challenges waited for it. First off, there was a slight curve in the roadway along with at least 3 buildings the shuttle would have to squeeze past. Second, and the most tricky, would be the center medians the shuttle would have to navigate, time and again. Crossing over these medians might appear simple if you're talking about a bicycle, motorcycle, or even a car. But an 85-ton orbiter has to be moved almost inch by inch. These conditions would force the shuttle to fall behind schedule over 5.5 hours. The crowds that had gathered along the Crenshaw Corridor would do so under the bright Southern California sun, but they would be forced to wait until after nightfall to see the guest of honor. Instead of the crowds growing smaller as the day wore on, the crowds actually grew almost exponentially as the sun moved across the sky and set in the west. By 7 p.m., Crenshaw from Martin Luther King Boulevard to Stocker Street on the south to King and Vernon on the east were packed with spectators who drove from all corners of the city to see the orbiter make the turn that would put it on a direct course to the California Science Center. Mixed in with the crowd were members of all of the mainstream media, including ABC, NBC, CBS, and even Newswire L.A. Spectators armed with iPads became the most popular people in the crowd because many of them could run the network TV web feeds which let us know where the shuttle was at any given time. In this shot, you can see several advanced trucks rolling off Crenshaw Boulevard and onto Martin Luther King. That let us know that the shuttle wasn't far away. Newswire L.A. quickly changed positions and found a spot just south of King Boulevard on Crenshaw, where we're about to bring you some of the most memorable shots of the entire weekend. And there she was, the Shuttle Endeavour. She's just crossing Crenshaw at Stocker. If you look at the extreme left portion of your screen, you will see that the traffic signal at Stocker had not been removed. The shuttle simply shimmied past it on her way north. In the background were the Liquor Bank and, more importantly, Maverick's Flats, which is a very popular night spot in the area and a Los Angeles City monument. The shuttle's moving past Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. Crowds gathered out of camera range on the south parking garage area to see Endeavour pass by, and they got a great view. Newswire L.A.'s view from this vantage point was even better than what we saw the previous night in Englewood. Let's continue watching as Endeavour inched its way down the Shaw.
Crenshaw, man.
Booyah!
Beat that.
Those are the black panels that they use to get in.
All right, Crenshaw and Martin Luther.
Here's our most breathtaking shot. Watch as Endeavour's wing passed right over our camera position. Even more breathtaking was how it cleared this cement streetlight pole with only a gap of 2 feet. Yes, only 24 inches to spare.
We were there when the Space Shuttle came and went.
And the shuttle continued toward its turnoff at King Boulevard. Endeavour could be seen here passing the historic Broadway Crenshaw department store. Also, a keen ear could hear the theme from Star Trek the Motion Picture coming over speakers that were mounted in the parking lot of Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh, they playing Star Wars.
Star Trek!
Oh, Star Trek. Next generation.
That's right. Get that right. You get you hurt.
Exactly.
Even using time-lapse photography, Endeavour's turn onto King Boulevard is still painstakingly slow. Everyone was certainly proud to be an American that night. And it would be here that the shuttle would make a layover. The layover was supposed to only last 2 hours. Unfortunately, it lasted until 5 a.m. Sunday morning. And here's one of my favorite views. The United States and Martin Luther King all in the same shot. Both stand for the same American dream at the end of a day. You knew this joke was coming. The crew of Endeavour appeared to have stopped off at the drive-through window of Louisiana Fried Chicken for a bucket to go. Or maybe they stopped for some Chinese takeout, which you could also get at this location as well. You can see that the crowds here were just as robust as those over on Crenshaw, and the view was just as good.
Space Shuttle.
And this was a far view of Endeavour from our camera stationed at 39th and Crenshaw. Endeavour was so big that it filled the intersection completely. As mentioned a bit earlier, the shuttle stop at Crenshaw and King was only supposed to last a couple of hours, but it ended up staying parked in the intersection until 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. At that time, the shuttle resumed its trek towards the California Science Center. After a few areas of difficulty, this wonderful piece of space history made it to Exposition Park and the California Science Center just after 1 p.m. on October 14th, 2012. After several weeks of preparation, the shuttle went on formal display to the public on October 30th, 2012. Final statistics say that over 1 million Angelinos turned out to witness the shuttle's move from Los Angeles International Airport to the California Science Center. As we mentioned earlier, no arrests were logged, which is a testament to the strength of character a city has when it truly counts. As we wrap up our retrospective on the Space Shuttle Endeavour, allow me to take you back to Englewood, California just one more time. As we were heading back to our original staging area at Manchester and La Brea, we ran across this.
Oh!
What would you like to hear?
My birthday. Can it sing happy birthday to me?
When music like this is on the radio, my steering wheel usually takes a beating.
I love it.
For all of you 80s kids, the car known as KITT needs no introduction. Here you see a replica of that series' main star, complete with the voice of actor William Daniels to boot. The car is part of a group known as the Knights of the West Coast and part of Photo Rider. The car and its owner can be found at various events and supports many different charities. Let's listen in as KITT comes up with a special birthday message for Orange County photographer Kim Martin. That is too good.
A wonderful place to be spending your birthday.
Kim. Is that right?
Very good. Happy birthday. Did you know
hell of a night, man. Let me tell you.
Aw.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I'm all we're here in Dallas. Our action leader is doing this biker show. Not the night fighter. I'm sending 10 over. Night fighters. Have a great day. Keep signing off.
Wow.
It's tough.
Simply fantastic.
Right when it started singing.
That's very cool.
That was your birthday present.
Thank you.
You never know what you might encounter at these types of events, but everything we've encountered during this weekend has been of the most positive nature possible. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event, and every one of us here at Newswire L.A. have had the pleasure of being able to bring it directly to you. And that's it for all of us here at Newswire L.A. We thank you for joining us. To follow everything Newswire L.A., look us up on Facebook and Twitter at Newswire L.A. I'm your host, Chin Thomas Sangsi, and that's it for this broadcast, and we'll see you back here next time. Stay tuned for more news on this Westlake Signal station.